up his goggles, rubbed his eyes, put them back down again, and pulled himself together. He was not alone. He spoke into the radio telephone. Red 2, I've been hit. 2 bandits, I've been hit. But nothing came from the headset, and the plane seemed to sag in his hands. Only bullets, he told himself, a spray of bullets. He realized he was still heading towards France. Desperate to see the English coast, he pushed up his goggles again and tried to swivel his head. But it would only move so far. Had he been injured too? How far had he chased that German? Turn. He needed to turn, and that's what he'd been trying to do automatically since he was first hit. Turn for home. But his head wouldn't turn, nor would the Spitfire. Nothing was happening. The Spit continued on. All you need are wings and an engine, or if that fails, you can reach land. Wings on their own will do. As long as you are going in the right direction. Eddie pictured the green fields around the airfield where he and his Spitfire lived. Any strip would do, or even one of those green fields. He'd done that before now. Where exactly had those bullets hit, he wondered, but none of this mattered if he couldn't turn. He glanced round and realized with a shock that all the clouds had gone, leaving him in an expanse of empty blue sky. So they had been Bosch clouds guarding their friends as if some Wagnerian opera had taken to the air. His eyes returned to the front, but not before they'd caught a bright flicker, the sun glinting on his wing. He knew better than that. The flicker grew into a flame, which he could see without moving his head. It hurt to move his head, and anyway, at last he could see the coast ahead. The end to another perfect summer's day. Both shoreline and water were burnished by the lowering sun. They merged into a mysterious, vibrating, probably unobtainable line. No, it was the wrong coast. Get out, Eddie! If he was a bird, he'd land on the water, fold his wings and rock gently on the waves. Jump out now! Who was shouting at him? Eva's pale, oval face stared at him with dark, luminous eyes. Chapter 1. March 1939. They're training you to be a killer. It's about flying, not killing. We're not even at war. Eddie took an angry step towards his father. Eddie was 6 inches taller and his fists were clenched, but Fred grabbed his arm. He used his left hand because his right was missing. You have no idea. Fred tightened his grip, but Eddie shook him off. Of course, you know everything. You don't talk about it, but your beastly stump talks for you. Your war turned you into a cripple, but it was a different war. Your war, not my war, and there isn't a war. I'm flying, I'm a pilot, it's the only time I'm happy. You don't believe in happiness, you believe in the workers and communism and pacifism, but you're bitter and old. You can never understand. I can't understand about your war, and you can't understand about my flying. You've drunk too much to make any sense. Fred drew away and looked up at the sky. It was a darkening blue above the university quadrangle in which they stood. You don't make any sense to me. Eddie's voice rose even louder. I shouldn't have come, at least not to the lunch. Now Fred seemed weary of the argument. I never liked your godfather, the professor, except for a short period in the war. The war again! You came to see me, or so you told me. Fred turned his back on his son and looked up again. Why do you keep staring up at the sky? I've told you, you're old. You can't understand what I feel about it. Wouldn't you like me to try? Fred turned round. Both men paused as a group of undergraduates passed by. The black gowns floating from their shoulders gave them an Elizabethan swagger. The leader called to Eddie. Afternoon, Chaffee. Eddie frowned without answering, and the men disappeared into a stairway, leaving behind the word pater spoken in disparagement. Their appearance and disappearance seemed to change Eddie's mood. He pushed his hand through his thick yellow hair and glanced at his father. They both had the same electric blue eyes. The professor's claret was good, at least. He's a dour old thing. His voice was conciliatory. Fred seemed unfazed by the change in tone. Your mother assures me he's a